Um, yeah, thank you, ManyChat, for having me. I'm so happy to be in Barcelona. I really like Barcelona. It's very nice compared to Amsterdam, weather-wise, and food-wise, actually. Um, yeah, as Anton said, I'm director of the PHP Foundation. But before I go and talk about the PHP Foundation, actually, I want to celebrate. So PHP is 30 years old. And maybe we do a short questionnaire, like when have you started using PHP? I started 15 years ago. It was PHP 5.2. So maybe who started with PHP 7? Raise your hands. Or used PHP 7? Used, yeah, maybe. Okay, maybe PHP 5, 4. Yeah, 6. I missed. Yeah. 3. You deserve medals. Okay. Yeah, but well, PHP with this 30 years old history, it actually went through different crises. This history was not that smooth, and actually every major release was kind of resolving this certain problem. So with PHP 3, they actually rewrote it. So that's when Andy and Ziv joined the project. That's where the Zend name comes from, and Zend engine. So they rewrote it from scratch. Then it was PHP 4 when they introduced object model, just trying to like keep up with industry trends. But it was not like complete. So they rewrote it again and started PHP 5. That was the Zend engine 2. And then they tried to do PHP 6 with Unicode support and stuff, but it never happened. And at that point, I think many PHP developers were quite frustrated because new releases didn't came for quite a long time. And then PHP 7 actually was also a solution to some problem. So back then, I don't know if you remember, but there was this HHVM, Hip Hop Virtual Machine, started by Facebook, and it was an alternative virtual machine for PHP. Was much more faster than PHP, and then PHP responded with PHP 7, which was comparable by speed and everything. And but in 2021, PHP faced another problem, which was more like people problem, not a technical problem. So in 2021, PHP was quite sad, and yeah, the prompt for this image was PHP having a drinking problem over its ex. So if you do remember the history, so back then PHP had only 2 paid maintainers. One of them worked at JetBrains, and he was young, talented, and he decided to switch to LLVM, which was another passion of his. Nikita Popov, if you remember, he's one of the top contributors to PHP. So PHP was quite sad after he left. There was no money in PHP, like no companies paying for PHP. There was only one paid developer, just maintaining. Can you just imagine the language that is used by millions of developers all over the world, but I don't know, thousands of businesses as ManyChat and others, and it's just one paid person to maintain it. And the community was quite disorganized. There was no organization to like help with this, so there were a few enthusiasts just maintaining, doing fixes and stuff. So that's when I worked at JetBrains. Back then I was actually marketing manager for PHP Storm, so this was my marketing project, but it turned out a project to help community and to help PHP continue growing. So we at JetBrains, we initiated the PHP Foundation. I reached out to these major PHP companies and asked for money, and I explained the problem. They supported it, and that's how we started the PHP Foundation. So PHP Foundation is a non-profit organization that develops the PHP language. So that's the mission: support, advance, and develop the PHP language. And our goals were quite humble. In 2021, basically solve those 3 problems: find money, find developers, and make the language running. So find money, and these are like sponsors that we have now, like not all of them, but some major sponsors. And we have ManyChat here, of course. So ManyChat is our major sponsor, starting from last year. So this screenshot, actually, all our budget is fully transparent. So you can actually go and check on Open Collective. That's the platform that we use to collect money. Every transaction is public, so you can go check where we get money from and how we spend it. So that was our decision, conscious decision from the day one, to be fully transparent as much as we can. So answering your question, here when I made this screenshot about a month ago, this was like the state at that time. So Automatic, the WordPress company, they donate recurrently. So yeah, and JetBrains the same. Some of them donated once, like for example Drupal Acquire. They only donated the first year, and then for some reason they stopped. So yeah, and the ManyChat they just started, so they didn't have to do it the second time yet. I hope they will. Yeah, so again, answering your question, some of these are doing it again and again, some of them once, depends on the sponsor and their situation. Yeah, finding skill maintainers was a hard task because, as you know, PHP is written in C, so it's not PHP developers who develop the language. Yeah, like our goal was to keep the language running. So we achieved all those goals in the next 2 or 3 years. So the team, this is the team, the developers that we currently hire. We started with 6 people initially. And they were part-time developers. Then as the PHP Foundation became more stable, they started being full-time, some of them, and then we extended the team to 10 developers. So right now it's 10 developers maintaining the language, and I did have like a screenshot, but most of them are like in top developers or maintainers of PHP. Yeah, this is the board. Some of the board members are from major sponsors, like myself, for example, and some are just community people. You might know Sebastian Bergman, who's the author of the PHP unit, and you also may know Sarah Goldman. She actually was the author of HHVM. Back then she worked at Facebook, and she started HHVM, and she contributed lots of stuff to the PHP language. Niels, he's a Composer guy. Basically, he one of the co-founders of Composer. And we also have community, so just some people helping us with different stuff, website and code of conduct and other things. So by 2024, we completed those initial goals, like foundation goals, and something incredible happened. We actually received money from German government, and they don't give money as a grant, so it's an actual investment. They like emphasize that it's investment, so it means that they give it for very specific projects. And when we realized that we got this money, we decided that we actually can plan bigger projects. And those 4 projects that we planned were security audit, FPM testing, documentation updates, and PECL overhaul. I will go through a bit in detail. So security audit, well, I say that it's in over a decade, but actually I don't know when was the other external security audit. You may think that it never happened before. I don't know. So what we did is we actually, since it was government money, we had to organize tender and find security agency, penetration agency that analyzes the code, reviews the code, and tries to hack it basically. And they were able to find, these are just a few issues from their report. The report is public, you can go check it. They found some very high security issues that are actually, by the time the report was published, they were not fixed yet. So they were not disclosed, actually. At this moment, they're already fixed. So it took us like half year to fix them because those were like severe issues, actually. But they also reviewed documentation, not all the documentation, but some part of it. Like security sensitive parts, like dealing with crypto. I mean, not Bitcoin crypto, but like crypto functions. Yeah, and one bonus is that we extended security support for PHP. So every version is now supported for 4 years in total instead of 3 years. So one more year when the PHP Foundation basically initiated that to have kind of more like long-term stability. FPM testing, so FPM is quite stable overall, but as actually Max mentioned, they had these weird issues with opcache on high load. FPM kind of has the same problem. So in some weird configurations on very high load, it can have some problems. Those problems are very hard to reproduce. So we built this special testing tool, which is actually written in Go language, and that's to reproduce those very hard to catch problems, so that it makes PHP FPM more stable. And my favorite is Peckle overhaul. So Peckle was a tool to install PHP extensions. The problem with Peckle was that it was so old that no one wanted to touch it. It was just the code was incredible mess. And there definitely were security issues. It's just that no one wanted to like dig to find them or fix them or whatever. And so my idea was like, we need PHP extensions to be like first-class citizen in PHP, so that you could install PHP extension like you do with Composer packages. So with Composer packages, you do Composer install and package name. So I wanted the same for extensions. And it's almost there. So if you're a composer right now, you can add, for example, xdebug in your require dev section, and then you can do py install. Py is the new tool that we built, and it will install this extension. So yeah, it's not part of Composer just yet, but that's, I hope, where we head in. So at some date it will be part of the Composer, and then in Composer you can do Composer install, and it installs everything. It's already released like 1.0, so it's stable. You can use it now, works everywhere, super cool. Besides all of that, in 2024, we also did a lot of language features, lazy objects, property hooks, asymmetric visibility, and BCMath object support. It's actually one of my favorites. It's basically big numbers support in PHP, but with operator overloading. So it's pretty cool. You can just create big number just like in Python, and then use plus, minus, and all the operations. It will work super smoothly. And these are just, as I mentioned, highlights. So overall, PHP Foundation team made 36 RFCs. Some of them are deprecations, just quick, just fixes and stuff like that. But I think the most important is the maintenance. So if you're an enthusiast, you can go to PHP. Any of you can create RFC, add a language feature or whatever. But maintaining the language, like going through all those bugs, reproducing them, that's not what you want to do, like, after your full-time job. That's you have to be paid to do that. So that's the most important part what PHP Foundation does. And the other thing that we are proud of is that these are the graphs that show the number of commits to PHP repository, which by itself is maybe not the best metric, number of commits, what does it say? But in comparison to previous years, you can see that growth, and you can see that not only PHP Foundation developers commit more, but actually community commits more. And that is achieved because PHP Foundation developers spend a lot of time reviewing code and helping community. So if, for example, you found something, actually, for example, with those segfaults that Max talked about, you could create a ticket, and PHP Foundation would help you, at least help you to reproduce and fix those segfaults. One interesting thing that we do that is not related to code or thing is partnering with governments and EU specifically. So there is this regulation that is coming called Cyber Resilience Act, which affects all open source, especially commercial open source. And PHP Foundation is part of the working group. I'm representing PHP, and one other developer is representing PHP in the EU Commission working group for this act. So I mean, what we do is actually we try to stay in the loop and make sure that the PHP community is aware of what changes are coming and what regulations are coming. And this will be very so if you're building commercial open source, this regulation will affect you dramatically because it actually gives you certain timelines on when you have to release updates, how long you have to support your every version. So it's very strict actually, but it's again only about commercial open source. And one of also the results I like is market confidence. So all of the things that we do, we see impact to the community. And one of the impacts is that PHP open source projects receive investments. And these are not commercial products. Like there are many other commercial products that receive investments, like ManyChat or many others. These are open source PHP projects that receive investments. And I only listed those that are PHP Foundation sponsors. So they sponsor, there are many others that don't sponsor us. So these are our sponsors. So maybe the most interesting part, like what's next? So in 2025, we think that we are now stable enough. We know how to do the space part with the maintenance and everything. So we can plan more bigger projects, more interesting projects to keep PHP live and running. So we do partnerships and marketing, community growth, and language evolution. So these are like 3 pillars that we are working towards too. So let's discuss some of the projects that are in works. As Max said, FrankenPHP. So this is a partnership, marketing effort, and also technical effort. So PHP traditionally works as a serve request and die, as Max told us. But there are alternative approaches when you have your application loaded and then serving a request in worker mode. So that's what FrankenPHP does. So it's a Go application server with a Caddy web server inside, and it serves PHP requests. So it comes with it can work in traditional mode, but it also can work in worker mode. I encourage you to go try it. It's pretty cool. Another thing that it solves is the first time experience with PHP. So like if you check how you start with other languages, like for example with Go or Node.js, it's a little bit easier these days than with PHP. So with PHP you have to, if you go to download page on php.net, it offers you to download PHP sources. And just think about if you're just starting with PHP, what are you supposed to do with those sources, right? So you have to figure out that you need to install PHP somehow, you need to configure web server somehow, database and stuff like that. With Node.js and Go, it's actually pretty smooth. You download one installer or you run one bash script and it installs everything. So FrankenPHP allows to have similar experience because it's shipped as a single binary with web server, PHP in it, and you just do like FrankenPHP run and it runs your application basically. So it's now part of the PHP organization. So, and is sponsored by the PHP Foundation, basically supported by the PHP Foundation. But we're developers, we want more features, so I'm gonna go through some fancy features that are being worked on. First is pattern matching. This is coming very soon. It's almost ready. So basically it's this operator is, which allows you to check any kind of stuff. You can check like if variable is of a certain type, but you can also check if it's a pattern, like literal pattern, or even you can even check if it's an object with a certain fields in it, a value. So it's super cool. There is a RFC document, very big one, that describes all the things there. Super cool feature coming very soon. This one is more practical. So in PHP we have this parse URL function, but it works in most of the cases, but not in all the cases. So one thing where it doesn't work is, like, for example, or works not so great with these weird URLs, or with when you have like some part of URLs, like when the URLs are complex. What we're gonna do, and again, this one is almost complete. It will probably make it to the next PHP version. The new URL parser is introduced, and it's super cool, super fast, super stable, covers everything. Again, there is an RFC. You can go check out the details if you want. JSON schema support. This is in draft so far, and I think in PHP 8.5, so in the next version, there will be only validation. So you have this JSON encode and JSON decode. Actually, JSON decode. That's where you need it. JSON decode function. So there will be additional parameter that allows you to check if this JSON matches this JSON schema. So this is pretty cool. And then the plan is that in the next version we'll probably have a mapper. So you could actually map it to the object or whatever. Again, super cool. So some of the features that we tried, like sometimes we try features, we do research, and we realize that they are not working out. So one of such examples is modules. So the idea was that, so PHP doesn't have modules, right? So we have namespaces, and autoloading is based on classes. But some other languages do have that. So idea was like, okay, if we introduce modules, maybe we could get some performance gains from that. But unfortunately, it didn't work out as we expected. So the performance gains are not that good, but there are so many open difficulties coming with this, so that this kind of research for now is closed. But there is a prototype in pull request. If you're very interested to try it, you can go and check. The other thing is the async, build async in PHP. This is super cool feature. So far it's an early prototype. I don't think it will make it into the PHP 8.5, maybe in PHP 9, I don't know, because it's quite a big feature. But what it will actually, so it's a real built-in asynchronous capabilities. So it will make all native functions asynchronous for you. So it will introduce this async await spawn and stuff. It's pretty complex under the hood. But if you're interested again in this feature, there is a separate repository called True Async, and you can follow how it's developed live. So it's been worked on right now very actively. It's developed by one Ukrainian guy who came out of nowhere. He submitted this idea with the implementation, and people were like, "Dude, are you AI or something? Where is it coming from? How can you like build this kind of thing from scratch?" And PHP Foundation saw potential in it, so PHP Foundation developers just support and help him to make it like more production ready. This thing is in prototype, so it's a native built-in AI inference. So ONNX is a standard for models. So basically, you can use models from, I don't know, Hugging Face or whatever, and use them in PHP natively faster than in Python. Actually, there is no like technical reason for Python to be the AI language. PHP can do the same. It's just that no one has tried it yet or didn't invest time in doing that. So this is one of the PHP Foundation developers is prototyping right now. I hope we'll see the prototype live in next few months, but we'll see how it goes. So far, it looks very promising. One thing that many developers ask is generics. And I mean generics. No, I mean generics. No, I mean like generics. Well, we did a very thorough research on how to do generics in PHP. You can go to the PHP Foundation website and find this research. Like, it outlines all possible implementations of this in PHP. So far, the conclusion is it's not happening. At least not in the nearest future. I mean, there is we can do like erase generic types, which is or fully erased. This is what Python has, for example. So in Python you can specify types, but they are not like checked at runtime. They're actually erased at runtime. So, but for PHP it'll be quite weird, because all types are checked in PHP, and then there will be some types that are not checked. So there's opinions of whether it should be like that or not. I mean, my personal opinion, and we can discuss it actually, my personal opinion that we don't need them. They are quite good in PHP docs. I mean, that's at least my opinion. I actually like that the code is simple, and if I need additional typing, I can have it in PHP docs or attributes actually. But yeah, there is a prototype of generics that is currently worked on. But here's the thing: even if this prototype works, it will not cover all the possibilities of generics that, for example, PHP 10 provides now. So you will still have to use both. You will still have some part of generics in natively and some part of them in PHP docs, which doesn't make sense. So you will still have to use both. So I personally don't see it as a good way, but it's not me who decides that. So we'll see. So here I actually wanted to ask you. It's like an open question. You can tell me. Once I asked that on Twitter, and everyone said we should rebuild website.
It's not sold. It's classic.
Yeah. So we haven't started rebuilding or redesigning the website, but what we actually did is we introduced analytics. Finally, it was not that easy. Actually, you may think like, okay, but just add Google code, right? And that's it. No, it's an open source project. We can't do that. We cannot give our data to big tech companies. So we had to spin up our own analytics web server. Matomo, which is actually PHP based server. But we do have analytics, and we use it to analyze some data. So one of the insights that we got really quick is that actually the downloads page is the most visited page after index page. And as I said earlier, if you get there, you can download sources. What are users supposed to do with sources, right? So we are actually rebuilding the downloads page right now. Yeah, that's it from me. As I said, I'm actually here to listen to you. If you want to help, just support with your money, or better, ask your employer to donate. Share the word about the PHP Foundation, about the PHP in general. Like, if you bring one person to PHP world, that's already a lot. Just convince people to use PHP. Yeah, and feel free to contribute. Everything is open source, everything is public. If you have free time, it's very easy to contribute. That's all from me. I'm happy to answer your questions and hear what you think about we should do in PHP Next.